All right, Shalom, Shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS, all the brothers doing the work, the hopeful elect, 144,000. And I want to just continue from part one, and I want to do part two here. I'm going to finish out. Then later on, I'm going to start another video about this Jake. You know, he's claiming that the people in Israel is the Lord's people, and we're going to go into it. And we're gonna bring up some scriptures to correct this Jake because he don't know what he's talking about, and he's supposedly a leader, Christian leader. Um, I'll pull it up for you. But like I said, and it's at the end of this part of the video in part two, I'm gonna go switch over to another video, and we're gonna start doing. I'm gonna start bringing up some scriptures on that video. So all right, let's continue where we left off from yesterday.
Wartime conditions, the nation rallies around their leader. Israel is not rallying around Bibi Netanyahu. He is a criminal. Remember, there's huge corruption charges that he avoided by rewriting the basic law to do away with an independent judiciary. He's the man who said, "I am Mr. Security," but he was asleep on October 7th. So is his army. So is his government. Israel is a nation that is in absolute chaos because of the incompetence of Bibi Netanyahu. They aren't winning anything.
And I want to bring this out to you because it says right here, and all right, it says, let me get this. I'll just read 36 and 8. But you, O mountain of Israel, shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people Israel, for they will soon come home. For behold, I am for you, and I will turn to you, and you shall be tilled and sown, and when I multiply men upon you, the whole house of Israel and all of it, and the cities shall be inhabited, and the waste places rebuilt. And I will multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and be fruitful, and it will cause you to be inhabited as in your former times, and I will do more good to you than ever before. Then you will know that I am the Lord. Yea, I will let men walk upon you, even my people Israel, and they shall possess you, and you shall be their inheritance, and you shall no longer bereave them of children. Thus says the Lord God. But basically, what I want to bring out is that it says that right here, and will be no more Salakia. All right, and will do more good to you than ever before. So we can see what the situation over there in Israel is going on. That's not good. That's happening to Israel. So it just shows you right there that they're not the people of the Lord. So let's continue.
They're losing everything. This is a huge victory for us.
I just this weekend finished rereading the 9/11 Commission report. Went back to that, going back through Richard Clark's testimony, going back through the months leading up to what happened on 9/11, security information being handed into the highest levels to Condoleezza Rice, etc. And it's fascinating to go back to that and think in terms of what we're seeing right now in Israel. Do you draw? You were there in the heat of it all. Do you draw any parallels? What happened on 9/11 ahead of time with the ideology, what happened before October 7th?
The problem is I don't think. I mean, first of all, there's an absolute parallel between failure of intelligence. We know, for instance, on 9/11 that we were collecting adequate information to draw a conclusion that Al Qaeda was preparing to attack us. The CIA even put a report, a presidential daily briefing in front of the president, saying that very thing. But the failure was a lack of imagination on the part of the politicians who didn't want to undertake the difficult decisions, to act on this information. The Israelis were collecting all the information. Every tactical collector would tell you we were reporting up chain of command that Hamas is getting ready to do something. That Hamas is, something's happening. They even knew the date. Now, on the night of October 7th, October 6th, October 7th, the senior Israeli leadership was meeting the head of intelligence, head of the military, because they had reports from Israeli intelligence that Hamas is coming over that night. They're like, what do? Do we call the alarm At a minimum, what you do is you call the frontline troops and say, stand to, stand to. I mean, get everybody out, put them in their gear, get them online, get them ready, get the spotlights out. The enemy's coming over the fence. It's time to repel orders. They're like, no, 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 don't raise the alarm. We'll talk about it in the morning. Well, they were talking about it in the morning, but they were talking about it in a different way because it became true. They were taken by surprise.
They weren't taken by surprise. Like I said, I believe, this is my personal opinion. I believe they already knew. Like I said, he just said it, that they already knew, but they didn't do anything about it. And they have the Iron Dome that's like billions of dollars that America has sent over there to create that Iron Dome. They have all kind of tech um for advanced, so like advanced technology that they know, even if a fly come near to their area, they can see it. That's how advanced that technology is in the Iron Dome. So they knew. They already, like you said, they already knew, and they didn't do nothing about it. So that just shows you right there that this something fishy was going on. Let's continue.
That's the failure. The big Israeli problem was that they had fooled themselves to believe that Hamas was incapable of launching this kind of attack, that Hamas had bought into the notion of governance. Well, Hamas was governing. What does a government do? Clayton, I mean, this is just a simple question. What does a government do when their people are oppressed, when their people are tortured, when their people are bombed, when their people are arrested, raped, murdered? A government stands up and defends them. So Hamas is a government dedicated to serving the population that elected them. And that service is to liberate them from the Israeli oppressor. What happened on October 7th was the purest form of governance, because it was a government stepping in and standing up and fighting on behalf of an oppressed people against an occupier that refuses to change the way it does business.
And now I'll get you out here on this guy, which is the total destruction of Gaza. So the images we shared this morning showing comparison between Hiroshima and Gaza, and you'd be hard pressed to tell a difference when you look at these images. What's what city's what, and now the millions.
All right. Side note: who dropped the bombs on Hiroshima? Esau, Edom. Who, like they just showed, who destroyed Gaza? Amalek. Esau and Amalek, both brothers, kinsmen. So that just shows that they are the destroyers of the earth, right there. Esau destroyed Hiroshima, and Amalek destroyed Gaza. So that just shows you that they kinsmen, they brothers. Let's continue.
There's all sorts of plans and rumors and speculation, I guess, but different plans that have emerged. 500,000 to Canada, being pushed out into Ireland, into the deserts. Will the Palestinian people ever come back to the Gaza Strip, or is this done?
I don't think the Palestinian people are leaving Gaza. I think they're there to stay. I think the Palestinian people would rather have all 2 million that die under Israeli bombs than be turned into a diaspora. That is a defeat for Palestine, because once you leave, you will never come back. You will never come back, because the world doesn't care about you. The only reason why the world was talking about Palestine today is because Hamas attacked on October 7th. And the only reason why the world has turned on Israel is because the Palestinian people have stood there and say, bring it on. We got this.
Correction. Marine Scott Ritter. The reason people are turning on Israelis is because the Lord had it. The Lord made it that way, and we're in the last days. We about World War III about to kick off, so that's the reason people are finally turning on the so-called Israelis, which we know that's not their land. They like the scriptures say, they took the land into their possession from the real Israelites, which are in the four corners of the earth, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So the reason that people are really talking against Israelis is because the Lord made it that way, and we're in the last days, and World War III about to kick off. So that's why.
Yes. Yeah, they cry. Who doesn't cry when their children are slaughtered or butchered? These aren't the people who are surrendering. These are the people who are becoming stronger and stronger and stronger in the face of the Israeli aggression. The Gaza. It is Palestine, by the way, because to do so is the defeat of their cause. They are committing some of the greatest acts of bravery by refusing to yield to Israel. People blame Hamas, but stop blaming Hamas. Start blaming Israel. Hamas isn't dropping the bombs, Israel is. Hamas is standing up for the rights of Palestinian people. It's Israel that oppresses these rights. You know, for people to sit here and blame this on the people of Palestine, you're being used as human shields. You can't be used as a human shield in your own home. In your own home that has been occupied by Israel, dominated by Israel. You aren't a human shield. You are a prisoner in an open-air concentration camp. So, no, I don't think you're going to see anybody. Look, even the king of Jordan, who is as closely linked to Israel as you could possibly imagine, has said that the eviction of the population from Gaza would be tantamount to a declaration of war, and Jordan will treat it as such. Israel has lost clean. There will be a lot of
World War
fighting.
III.
There will be a lot of destruction. There will be a lot more death. But Israel can't flip the script on this. They have gone down a path that inevitably leads to their defeat. The question is how great this defeat will be.
World War
Because
III.
at the end of the day, there's going to be a Palestinian state. The longer Israel continues this conflict, the less control they'll have at the negotiating table where a Palestinian state is created, because the scope and scale of their defeat and their humiliation would become apparent to all. The big thing that Israel has going for it is the mythology of Israeli exceptionalism, the mythology of Israeli superiority, the mythology of an Israel that cannot fail. Well, there ain't nothing exceptional about an Israeli. They die just like everybody else. There is no superiority here. They have the greatest technology in the world, and they're getting slapped around by Hamas and by Hezbollah. And the notion that, you know, Israel is too big to fail, they're failing right now.
Exactly.
This could be the end of of political Zionism.
Exactly. The reason they failing is because they not the Lord's people. That's why they failing, and they being exposed in these last days.
If Netanyahu continues to sail Israel down these stormy waters, it could be very, very bad for Israel in the future.
Yeah,
And it is.
survives.
World War
That's
III.
unlikely. Yeah, you great point. During wartime, I think George W. Bush had 91% approval rating. Imagine Yankee Stadium standing up in a massive standing ovation after he throws out a first pitch after 9/11. Imagine that happening today. Imagine that happening to Benjamin Netanyahu. I can't picture it. I couldn't picture that with President Biden right now either.
No.
He'd be booed out of Yankee Stadium. Scott Ritter, always great to see you. Thank you so much for your insights as always.
So let's go here. That's the end of the video. Then we're gonna move on to the next video of that so-called black Christian, talking about stuff you don't know nothing about. So let's get this real quick. Going to go to Joel. Let's go to Joel and read this. I'm gonna talk about World War III. No, is that 3 or? No, that's 2. And let's go to 9. No, what's Joel 3? Let's go over. Let's go down to 9. And let's read this, and we'll go to the next video. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. World War III. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble and come, all you nations, and gather together all around. Come, you mighty ones, to go down there, O Lord. Cause your mighty ones to go down there, O Lord. Let the nations be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will set to judge all surrounding nations. Put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, go down, for the wine press is full, for the vats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multiply Salakia 14. Multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Alright, just wanted to read that to you. And we'll go to the next video. We're gonna go to this Jake, don't know what he's talking about. Let's go. This Christian. Slow Christian, don't know nothing. Alright, let's go.
Temple, which led to more Jews being killed, some of them being sold into slavery, others were fleeing to other portions of the.
And then what he's talking about, that fleeing, is my ancestors went to Africa. Then that's where they eventually got sold and shipped over here to America in chains, which is in Deuteronomy. I'm gonna read that to you later on. Might pull it up on the screen.
Of the world, so they could run for their lives, thus resulting in more scattering, more spreading, and greater diaspora. And then, of course, if you fast forward to the 20th century, you have the Holocaust, where there were 6 million Jews.
Correction. That's not the same people. That's the Jewish people. That's not talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. This is a whole. That's Esau, Edom, Amalek. So this situation don't got nothing to do with the real Israelites. And that's basically what Hitler's. Well, I don't know if I can get into it in this video, but he basically said that America has the lowest jewels, which that means he's talking about the so-called black people, the lowest jewels. That's what he was quoted as saying. So let's continue.
Jews who had lost their lives to the Nazis, thus destroying the Jewish nation and resulting in more scattering as well. Now this leads us to the second of 7 stages in God's plan for Israel. And if stage 1 was the scattering of Israel, we will call this the physical restoration of Israel. In other words, there are scriptures sprinkled throughout the Old Testament where God promises that he is going to restore Israel to the land. Let's read about several of them. Ezekiel 11:17 says, I, the sovereign Lord, will gather you back from the nations where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel once again. Ezekiel 36:24, for I will gather you up from all the nations and bring you home again to your land. Here's another beautiful one in Amos chapter 9, verses 14 and 15. I will bring my exiled people of Israel back from distant lands, and they will rebuild their ruined cities and live in them again. They will plant vineyards and gardens. They will eat their crops and drink their wine. I will firmly plant them there in their own land. They will never again be uprooted from the land I have given them, says the Lord your God. Let me pay attention and zoom in on that fast word. They will never again be uprooted from the land I have given them, which lets us know.
Which is basically talking about when the Lord returns with the 144,000. That's what that's talking about. It's not talking about, the people over there now that took the land from the real Israelites. That Amalek and is it what does they call them? Palestinians. I think that's Palestinians. Amalek and Palestinians. They took the land and split it between them two. So the real Israelites, they are here in America in the 4 corners of the earth. And I'm gonna read in Deuteronomy that specifically tell you who the real Israelites are, and you can see that's what happened to us in slavery, our ancestors.
This is something that has not yet happened yet. Now, in light of all of the different scatterings that the nation of Israel had experienced, including the devastation of the Holocaust, it would seem insurmountable and almost impossible for God to regather his people and make them a nation again. But this is exactly what we see happening on May 14th, 1948, when
Uh-oh. This is not right. This is Amalek. This is not this is not the Lord's chosen people. It's Amalek. This is they stole the land. They took our identity and inheritance as for us, the land of Israel. And in 1940, we call them the 48ers. Well, the elders and apostles go into this, how they made a pact and they took the land. So this Christian don't know what he talking about.
People were established as a nation again. And my friend, this is a very, very important date in all of human history as it relates to Bible prophecy, because before this date, many of the Bible scholars were asking the question, how is he going to be able to fulfill these promises to restore Israel as a nation back to their land if they are not a nation at all? And so the fact that on May 14, 1948, this sets this in motion, that now Israel is a fortified nation. Now it's setting the stage for God to fulfill the promises that he's going to physically restore.
This is wrong, because this is supposed to happen all at once. The Lord supposed to take the 144,000 back to the land of Israel, the real Israelites. Then you have peace. What he's saying is that they became, like in 1948, that they was restored back to the land of Israel. So if they was restored back to the land of Israel, it's supposed to be peace, right? But later on, he's gonna say there's been many conflicts and wars, and he's gonna show you that. So that's not even adding up, Mr. Jake Christian. You wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And unfortunately, the people that follow you completely wrong, and following the blind. What they say, blind leading the blind. You one of the blind, and you leading the blind, and y'all gonna fall into a ditch. So let's continue.
And this brings us to stage number 3, where part of God's prophetic plan for the nation of Israel is that there was going to be wars and persecution from the surrounding neighboring nations, and that brings us up to the modern day, because there's so much conflict that the nation of Israel has experienced that God had already prophesied beforehand. Notice Zechariah chapter 12, verses 2 and 3. It says, I will make Jerusalem like an intoxicating drink that makes the nearby nations stagger when they send their armies to besiege Jerusalem and Judah. But
Judah.
This promise of God. On that day, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock. All the nations will gather against it to try to move it, but they will only hurt themselves. Do you see what God is saying? God is prophesying that, yes, Israel is going to experience persecution. They're going to experience wars. They're going to experience these other nations trying to destroy them. But because they are protected by God, because they are ultimately God's chosen people, God is saying that even though they may try to do this, I'm going to make Israel so strong like an immovable rock that they're only going to end up hurting themselves. Now, while we're here, it's important for us not to interpret every single conflict that we see going on in Israel as a surefire sign that the end is near, because Jesus told us
Stop right there. And his name is not Jesus. The name of Yahweh Shai. This Christian, this don't know anything. Christian right here don't even know what he's talking about. And let's go back to what he said about there'll be conflicts. Like I said in the scriptures, when the Lord returns, there'll be no conflict. There'll be peace on earth, and nations will come to Israel to learn the statutes and commandments. They'll walk in the Lord's ways. So that his interpretation of the scriptures is wrong, which is not surprising to a Christian. But let's continue.
Thus, against doing this, look at Matthew chapter 24. It says this: Jesus told them, don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many. And you will hear of wars, plural, and threats of wars, plural. But don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. You see what Jesus is saying? Is that there are going to be wars, and you're going to hear about these wars, plural, many of them, and threats of wars. But don't panic as if to say, oh, the end is near, Jesus is coming back, because he says right here, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. And so the reason why we don't want to overreact to the conflict that's going on there right now is because since their inception as a nation
Wrong.
in 1948,
Wrong.
there have been all kinds of wars that the Israelites have been involved in.
See, that don't make any sense. We're gonna go. I'm gonna actually put it up on the screen, and this is what it's supposed to be. Let's pull this up. These Christians are completely gone in the mind. They complete bug outs, like this guy right here. So this don't make any sense. If they are established as a nation, there shouldn't be no more wars. And this is clear in the scriptures. If they establish, there'll be no more wars. There'll be peace on earth. There'll be no more wars. And I'm gonna pull this up right now. 37, Ezekiel 37. And let's go to we'll start at, all right, let's go to 21. 37 and 21. I just scroll down. 37 and 21. And I'm going to show you that this guy don't know what he's talking about. Then, all right, let's read this. 37 and 21. Then say to them, thus says the Lord God, surely I will take the children of Israel from among the nations, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans here in America and in the four corners of the earth, from among the nations wherever they have gone, and I will gather them from every side and bring them into their own land, Israel. Bring them back to Israel, and I will make them one nation in that land, on the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them all, and they shall no longer be two nations, nor shall they ever be divided into two kingdoms again. They shall not defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will deliver them from all their dwellings places in which they have sinned, and I will cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God. David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. See that? It says right here, and let's go to 24. David my servant shall be king over them. Is David the Lord serving over there right now, as being the king over them under Yahushua? No. They got war over there right now, fighting Hezbollah and Hamas. So he don't know what he's talking about. That completely gone Christian Jake. Gotta get his name. I'll tell you. I'll show you his name. 25. Then they shall dwell in the land, and that I have given to Jacob my servant, where your fathers dwelt, and they shall dwell there, they, their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. See? And it shall be everlasting covenant with them, and I will establish them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary in their midst forevermore. See that? We're going to point this out to you. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace. Is there peace over there now in Israel? No. With them, and it shall be everlasting covenant with them, everlasting forever. So it's supposed to be everlasting peace in Israel. Is there peace over there right now? No. All right. Let's go to 28 or 27. Oh, dang. All right. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Indeed, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Is the tabernacle over there now? No. The nations also will know that I, the Lord, sanctify Israel, where my sanctuary is in their midst forevermore. See that? The nations also will know that I, the Lord, sanctify Israel. Is that happening now? No. They fighting Hezbollah and Hamas. So let's go back to the video. This Jake Allen Parr, moron, don't know nothing Christian. Let's continue.
they got established as a nation, you had the first Arab and Israeli
See,
war, where they were fighting for
he
the
just
land.
said if there was they has been established in this he just said Israeli they said Israeli war. So if they established, there should be no more war, like I just read to you in Ezekiel. So this guy, he don't know what he's talking about. This is it's completely ridiculous. This guy don't know what he knows nothing.
Have been involved in. Right after they got established as a nation, you had the first Arab and Israeli war, where they were fighting for the land and fighting for their independence and things of that nature.
See?
And that was in 1948.
Yeah, exactly.
1949. Then in
That this show
1967,
pause right. I'm gonna go into this. If they was established in 1948, right as they is being established, this just shows you that the Lord wasn't with the so-called people that was in that land. Amalek, they as soon as they was so-called established in 48, they had a Israeli war. Yeah, the same year or the year after. So that shows you right there that the Lord ain't with them. If they was supposedly Israel was established, that is dumb Christian they're talking about. So let's continue.
you had the famous Six-Day War. And then
Another
in
war.
1970, you had the War
Another
of
war.
Attrition, followed by the War
Another
of Yom
war.
Kippur in 1973,
That-
where they were literally attacked.
That's war number 4. In what 20 years? This shows you right here that this is not the Lord's people.
On the day of Yom Kippur, one of their Jewish holidays, followed by the
You-
Lebanon Wars,
Yep.
then all the way up
Oh, no.
to 2021,
Seven.
the Israeli-Gaza conflict.
See?
Now, ultimately, in 2023, we see they're at war again.
See?
So, there
See,
are going to be wars, but once again, this is
He
part
just proved that he didn't not he just proves in himself that he don't know what he's talking about. If there's so many wars, there shouldn't be no wars if the Lord established Israel. So this guy he all right, let's continue. Anyways.
of God's prophetic plan for Israel. And this leads us to the fourth stage of God's plan for Israel, which will occur during the 7 years of tribulation,
No,
which
Lord.
is involving the Antichrist and their ability to offer sacrifices.
Jeez, oh my God. The 7 year tribulation, talking about after the supposedly what is it called? Dang, what did you just say? The tribulation, 7 year tribulation. There's not gonna be no 7 year tribulation. It's gonna be World War III. Yahweh Shah's gonna return to destroy Babylon, aka America. The 144,000 gonna go back to Israel, and then there's gonna be peace on earth. And we're gonna rule over the heathen. Esau, Edom gonna be in slavery for 1,000 years. Then the nations, the other heathens gonna basically be under us, but they're not gonna be enslaved like Esau, Edom because of, I'm gonna read that. I should read that to you. What they did. So we just gonna continue with the video.
At a temple that is not yet built. And so the first thing that's going to happen during this tribulation period as it relates to Israel is that there is going to be a charismatic figure that we refer to as the Antichrist.
The Antichrist is Esau, Edom, Amalek. That's like I said, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Esau, Edom. Everywhere he go, he starts wars. He take land. Okay. So the Antichrist is a group of people. That's Esau, Edom. What it says in scriptures, did the hammer of the Lord? I should read that to you. Hopefully I can find it. I just looked at it. Hopefully I can find this. Salakia. Let me try to find it real quick. So lock, y'all. I can't find it. Okay. I cannot find it. Okay. Let's continue. I'll try to look for it as it play. As this video play, I'll look for it.
He is going to make a peace treaty or a covenant with the nation of Israel.
I found it.
Assumingly to try to win.
All right, let's read this. I'm just gonna read. I'm not gonna pull up on screen. Jeremiah 51 and 29. Let's read this. You are my hammer and weapon of war. With you I break nations in pieces. With you I destroy kingdoms. See that? With you I break in pieces the horse and his rider. With you I break in pieces the chariot and the charioteer. With you I break in pieces man and women. With you I break in pieces the old man and the youth. With you I break in pieces the young man and the nation and the maidens. Salakia. With you I break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I break in pieces the farmer and his team. With you I break in pieces governors and commanders. Who is that? Esau, Edom. Okay. So I'm glad I just found that. Thanks to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna read this to you too. 51 and Jeremiah 51 and 7. Babylon was a golden cup in the Lord's hand, making all the earth drunken. The nations drank of her wine, therefore the nations went mad. Suddenly Babylon has fallen and been broken. Wail for her, take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she was not healed. Forsake her and let us go each to his own country, for her judgment has reached up to heaven, and has been lifted up even to the skies. The Lord has brought forth our vindication. Come, let us declare in Zion the word of the Lord our God. Let's continue.
In their allegiance to try to get them to believe that he is for them. But notice what's going to happen. In Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, it prophesies this, and it says this: the ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7. So this ruler, if he says, hey, you know what, I'm going to establish some laws where I'm going to guarantee that Israel is at peace for the next 7 years, of course Israelites were like, you know what, yeah, we're going to follow you, right? But let's see what he says next. But after half this time, he will put an end to the sacrifices and offerings. So, sacrifices and offerings, what does that suggest? It suggests that there has to be another temple that is going to be built.
The temple is Yahweh Shai. That's what that's talking about. The temple is Yahweh Shai when he returns and bring the 144,000 hopeful elect back to Israel. He's going to be the temple. So let's continue, and I might just stop it pretty soon so I can do part 2 tomorrow, or part 3. I should say part 2. Yeah, I'll do part 2 of this video. See, I put on the title part 2 for tomorrow.
The Antichrist is going to allow the Jewish people to rebuild the temple so they can resume their offerings and their sacrifices, and this is all going to be music to the ears of those in Israel. That is until 3.5 years in, where the Antichrist is going to turn, and now he's going to actually focus on persecuting the nation of Israel. Let's continue. And as a climax to all his terrible deeds, he will set up a sacrilegious object that causes desecration, until the fate decreed for this defiler is finally poured out on him. So halfway through the tribulation period, first 3.5 years we'll call the tribulation. The last 3.5 years we'll call the Great Tribulation. This is when the bowls are going to be poured out. It's going to be really crazy here on earth. But these final 3.5 years, in the midpoint of that, this Antichrist figure is going to do something so sacrilegious, so crazy, that he's going to set up some sort of sacrilegious object in the very temple of God.
This
And we call this the abomination of desolation. Elsewhere in Daniel, he talks about this in chapter 7, verse 25. He will defy the Most High and oppress the holy people of the Most High.
There you
He
go.
will try to change their sacred festivals and laws. Do you remember I said that? He's going to try to change up some stuff.
Yeah, he tried to change up the festival laws. He brought them over to America and served slavery. So he did change Israel and took the name from them so they don't know that they Israel. We're just waking up in these last days, like it says in the dry bones. And who can I find it? Where can I find it? Okay. It is in okay, let's continue. I'll try to look for it as this play.
See, first he's going to say, oh, you can resume your sacrifices and your offerings at the temple. But now he's going to change up their sacrifices and laws, and they will be placed under his control for a time, that's 1 year, times, that's 2 years. 1 plus 2 is 3 and a half a time. What does that add up to? 3.5 years, which lets you know that the last 3.5 years of this tribulation period, now the nation of Israel is going to be under the control of the Antichrist. But let's keep going. The fifth stage of God's prophetic plan for Israel and how Israel is going to play a pivotal, critical role and how Israel is the focal point of all Bible prophecy is what I'll call the persecution of Israel during the 7 years of tribulation. So we've looked before about how Israel is going to be persecuted before the tribulation period begins. Now we turn our attention to how the nation of Israel is going to be persecuted during the 7 years of tribulation when they are handed over to the control of the Antichrist. Now, Jesus
Antichrist, Esau, Edom. And we've been persecuted ever since we came over here to America. Okay, let's go to all right. Okay, let's go to alright, let's go to Isaiah 14. The Lord will have compassion on Jacob and will again choose Israel, and will set them in their own land, and aliens will join them and will cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them in the Lord's land as male and female slaves. See that as Esau Edom. They will take captive those who were their captors. Esau Edom, who took captive Israelites and brought them to America and rule over those who oppressed them. See that? So that's that. And okay. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 11 and 11. And that day the Lord will extend his hand yet a second time to recover the remnant which is left of his people from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pethios, from Ethiopia, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the coastlines of the sea. And he will raise an ensign for the nations, and will assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. See that? From the four corners of the earth. Here in America, all over. Alright? So, I think this will be this was actually part 2, but this is going to be part 1, or the second part I'm going to do tomorrow, the rest of his video. Of this, Alan Parr, Christian, don't know nothing Christian guy. Alright, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai.